Welcome to the 2025 Economic Depression and Preparation channel. Thank you for joining me. Hit that subscribe and like button on the way in so you can get the latest notifications of financial news interpretation videos. Appreciate your support, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about briefly the stock market, the Dow Jones significantly going down these last few days here, despite the government reopening here. But in positive news, the U.S. does strike trade deals across Latin America and lowers the tariffs on Argentina's beef. Also, we're looking at possibly December more rate cuts by the Federal Reserve Bank, but that may be up in the question depending on how the job market does, if we can get any reliable jobs data in the next month or so here. Gold and silver took a little bit of a slide downward today or this morning, despite its upward momentum here, and crypto took a little bit of a downward turn too as well with Bitcoin, but we'll see about that later. But we're going to continue to look at the live updates here with the Dow Jones here. The Dow Jones drops 500 points as the sell-off continues here. Many traders anticipated the government reopening and also anticipated the more stimulus printing, money printing coming up possibly in January, as early as January, along with the additional rate cuts. But now the Dow Jones is selling off here, pump and dump, 500 points. The U.S. equities fell on Friday, coming under pressure for another day as Wall Street notched its worst day in more than a month. Dow Jones average loss over 559 points at 1.2%. Nasdaq Composite dropped 0.6%, and the S&P 500 shed 0.5% as well. And so you can see that you come off the worst one-day performance since October 10th here, and the Dow Jones at that time lost 800 points in a straight downward gain here. Concerns about artificial intelligence trade have emerged more seriously this week with the wipeout in once hot cloud stock Oracle, and at further spooking investors about elevated tech valuations. So we have a tech and AI bubble that's continuing to grow, and many investors feel like AI is losing some of its luster, some of its shine here. U.S. government shutdown after 43 days ended on Wednesday, and that extended more of the concerns here with investors that this thing may not be over with yet. And so we're interested to see how things go here. JP Morgan Chase to get paid by fintech firms over fees to assess customer data here. Customer data has been a big sticking point here. As you know, most of our data is out there on the internet. It's not really secure as we think it is. And so now the bank has signed updated contracts with fintech middlemen that make up more than 95% of data pools on its systems, including Plaid, Yodlee, Morningstar, and Akoya, according to JP Morgan spokesman Drew Pastore. So they've come to an agreement here, and the Bitcoin, it did dip below 95,000 on Friday here, but the digital asset was trading at 96,293 currently here on Tuesday here, and you can see the metrics of Bitcoin here as we continue on. So, but the good news is that the U.S. strikes trade deals, according to YahooFinance.com, with Argentina and lowers Argentina's tariffs on beef. Trade deals. The Trump administration announced on Thursday a new series of trade deals with Argentina, Ecuador, El Salvador, and Guatemala will streamline market access for the U.S. exporters here. They're lowering key tariff on imports such as coffee, beef, and bananas. So they're working on those deals on the Western Hemisphere here. We'll yet to see those prices to reflect in our pocketbooks, especially in the grocery store. We'll see how that comes into fruition. But President Trump does claim, according to MarketWatch.com article, that Thanksgiving is cheaper this year, quote, even as Americans spend hundreds on turkey and travel. I do know that Aldi's had a Thanksgiving special where they give you a $40 Thanksgiving special at Aldi's grocery store where you can get everything you need in a package. If you like those, I know Costco is selling a $200 package, prepackaged Thanksgiving meal for those who want to splurge. And there's many other things going on, but apparently we're not feeling it in our pocketbooks here. No matter what store you go to, whether it's Aldi, Trader Joe's affiliated, or Sam's, Walmart, Ralph's, or Winco, prices are up across the board at most grocery stores, and they have continued to be that way all throughout this year. And so we don't think the prices are going down that much. But with Thanksgiving, but one thing I will give it is that I will say that many Americans are planning on traveling 500 miles or less than 250 miles for Thanksgiving dinner with friends and family. And they're cutting back on costs. Obviously, air travel has been a big concern. And many people are cutting back on their traveling expenditures, but they're still going to get together. And we know that the meals are going to be higher cost because it's been high throughout the year, so it's no surprise. So there will be less travel on the roads, and therefore I think gas prices will be going down during this next 2 weeks here, somewhat by 2 or 3 cents or 5 cents in some cases in the deep south. But that's some of a relief that we could experience here, at least during the holiday season here, during this slowdown. Now the Fed's December rate cut, it looks to be increasingly like a toss-up here. Before, it was easier to say this, according to Reuters.com article here yesterday morning, because the Fed policy market makers are weighing inflation and the job market concerns here, and Boston's Fed Collins sees higher bar for additional easing. Yeah, they're like, well, why would we cut rates in a supposedly booming stock market, maybe not a booming economy, but why would you be cutting rates in a so-called growing economy here? But market odds for rate cut dropped down to less than 50% at 49% here. So let me know what you think. Do you think there's going to be a rate cut? And if there's going to be a rate cut, will this time will they go for a big 50 basis point rate cut, or will they stick to the 25 basis rate cut to end out the year here? In either case, if they leave it unchanged or if they do a rate cut, 2026, the first half of it is looking like a very tough 6 months here, because we're going to be dealing with the job losses continuing, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector as well, as companies are going to be trimming the fat to try to make profits in the first 6 months of next year. And then also you're going to be, and the police shareholders, and then you're going to be looking at also possible another government shutdown, because some agencies only extended to January 30th deadline, and so you could be looking at another government shutdown, and this one could last maybe double the first time. Who knows? The 43 days. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is going to be a very important next 6 months for this U.S. economy. So let me know what you think. What are you doing to prepare for the holidays and for the end of 2025? There were some bright spots in 2025. We're here. We're still growing as a nation, as a people, and we still have a lot of diverse areas to grow in. Besides AI and tech in this economy, room for growth in trades and tech and trade skills and healthcare and education. The new framework of education that's going to be happening online and offline. The revamping of all of our systems here as we head towards the new year. So let me know what you think in the comments. God bless. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.